Kia ora, this is Jess. Today I'm just going to walk you through pitch and differentiation super quick. So, research shows that in order for a student to be engaged, the work has to be challenging enough for them to want to do it and be interested in it, but not so challenging that it's too difficult for them to do. So what I tend to do in terms of differentiation and pitching is to leave it up to the student where they want to go with their learning and accomplish the same things regardless of the journey that takes them there. This is a website that I developed as part of my coursework on the MTEL. And what this is the first section is talking about different ways of learning things. For example, I tend to choose between a text-based, a video-based, and a practice-based way of completing the tasks. The text-based is just a online tutorial which is written for students to follow. The video-based is a section of videos that I created for students to follow when they're learning about HTML and CSS. Essentially, this is the same thing as the practice-based version, except they are in control of whether they would like to move ahead faster and watch them faster, or go back, pause, and rewind. The practice-based section is what we would do along in class and do a I do, you do kind of format. This is something I did back in September 2018, and it's got notes on the different example pieces of code, so students are able to read through the code and see where they're at. Within this, I have formative assessments, and these are just to ensure that students are all meeting the same knowledge, regardless of which path they chose to take, based on their own learning interests and preferences. So I would review this formative assessment, make sure that they meet some basic criteria before they move on to CSS. CSS is exactly the same, text-based, video-based, and practice-based, depending on what they're interested in. After this, I have a challenge yourself section for some of my learners who may be finding that they are working really fast and making some great progress throughout the rest of the units. The second formative assessment is a CSS design, and what they do is they just take some existing HTML and format it in a way that they like. There are some instructions on what they can do, but I like to leave it open so that it's up to the student how they would like to do it, so it's their agency. This is a huge part of where pitch and differentiation comes in the extended HTML section. There are 9 different activities that students are able to complete as part of this. Every student was expected to complete at least 3. Now, they vary heavily in terms of complexity and easiness. So students were able to go through and choose ones that would match their level of comfort with HTML and CSS. It also didn't prevent students from running out of things to do, because they were able to go back and complete more of these tasks if they finished early. Finally, the assessment just gave a basic kind of idea about things that they could do, and it didn't have to be a specific topic. They were able to choose what aligned with them the best and what they found was most useful to them. There were only some guidelines around things they needed to include in terms of HTML, CSS, and making sure they bring together everything that they learned. So this is a good way of differentiating and making sure that things are accessible to all students in the class, because quite often not all students are on the same level, and everybody needs the same support everybody needs support to reach their goals wherever they're at.